we'll kick off with that. But welcome to our Pro Road National Championship COVID protocol meeting. I am sure, like all of you, we're so excited to get back to racing. We haven't done this in over a year, and we cannot wait to leave our homes, our offices, and actually get out and run a bike race for all of you. So we're super excited. We've also seen a historic high number of registrations for this event, and that is in all races across all genders. We're really, really excited, and we're really happy to have all of you join us at our national championship. I'm going to go through a couple of staff intros. So I am Tara McCarthy. I am the Director of National Events for USA Cycling. We have Chuck Hodge, our Chief of Racing and Events for USA Cycling. Kevin Benjamin, he is our National Event Manager and the Race Director for this event. And we also have Will Smith, our Technical Director with Medalist Sport, joining us tonight. Feel free to ask questions. You can drop them in the chat box. Chuck or I or Kevin or Will take a look at those and then bring those up to the group or answer them directly within the chat window. We do ask, most of you all are muted, so just if you could keep muted while we're talking, but again, drop questions in that chat window for us. So overall, the protocol that we're going to be discussing tonight is a mixture of UCI protocol. I know a number of you have been racing UCI events and are probably very familiar with that protocol. Our protocol also incorporates information from the CDC, as well as from our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Michael Rashan. Now, we've all seen mandates and guidelines change very rapidly over the last couple of weeks, so here in the States. And we've spoken to a number of teams to gather feedback on this protocol that we'll be talking about tonight. And we are taking into consideration that there are some folks who have been racing internationally who have not been able to get vaccinated, like hopefully the majority of the Americans who will be joining us at our event. And so all of these protocols are being put in place to keep everybody safe. And we do ask that all of these protocols be followed when we are at the event, during competition, during meetings, etc. So I'm going to jump right into protocol number 1, testing requirements. We are still going to require a PCR test for all athletes competing at the event, as well as team support staff who is licensed. So for instance, a DS, a mechanic, really any staff who are around the athletes who will be competing at the event. Now, we will be asking for test results for our athletes and for those staff members, and these will need to be shown at registration at the time of number pickup for the first event that the athletes and the staff members will be showing up at registration. Now, the timing of testing, we are saying within 72 hours of that number pickup for that specific event. Chuck, do you have that spreadsheet so that you can show everybody and just kind of verbally explain that to folks along with the testing?
Sure, Tara. I'm sharing a spreadsheet, and we'll make this available to everybody, so don't feel like you have to write it down or scramble right now. As Tara mentioned, we're following the UCI protocols on this. They say a 72-hour before the event. I'm going to walk you through this pretty quickly. So we are considering that is you must be tested in the 3 days before registration or packet pickup for your event. So I'll give you an example. If you have a rider doing the time trial, they need to be tested, which is Thursday. They need to be tested either Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. And you're hopefully showing us that negative test result at registration late Wednesday. If they're doing the time trial, the crit, and the road race, that test carries them through the whole week. If someone's doing the crit, they need that test but not the time trial. They need to be tested on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Show us that on actually Friday morning for registration. I need to fix that. But we'll take it that Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and they will be good through the weekend. Again, that would serve for the road race as well. If it's the road race, it's the 3 days before road race. I think it carries through. A couple things I want to point out. We've worked with University of Tennessee Medical, our medical provider. We will have a certain capacity of testing available for teams, basically on a drive-in basis. At the same venue, we're doing registration or packet pickup and the managers meetings, which is right near downtown. So we will have a sign up for those spots starting next week. I've got the hours in here and we'll make those available. So UT's doing this, you'll sign up, you'll go get the test. They will do a 24-hour turnaround and they can notify us directly, so there's no showing us paperwork. The test is $100, which is a pretty good rate, and they will bill your insurance directly instead of you having to deal with it. And this will be basically concierge service for the teams. You are definitely welcome to bring your own test if you want to go to Walgreens, CVS, your county health department. I've actually am going to a race in Guatemala starting Monday, and the UCI requires me as a commissary to get a test. I'm running down the street to Walgreens. They're going to charge me insurance and all of it back. So that is available. You can bring your own. You don't have to use us for it. But I would recommend that you make sure those tests are returned in the timeline that you need. Just another item here is that UT, if someone is not vaccinated, wants to be, they're going to have free one-shot Johnson & Johnson, the Janssen vaccine available on Wednesday. And they're happy to administer that to athletes or team staff who want it. And we're going to sign up for that as well. So we know this is a bit of an imposition. The folks who've been racing overseas have been doing this. Our commissaries have been working, UCI events have been doing this. But a lot of you have not, and we're just trying to make this as easy as possible on you. So you can also pay cash for those tests if you don't have insurance. And as Tara pointed out, there was a question about most insurance. Check with your insurance provider. I will say UT has gone above and beyond and are going to do their damnedest to get your insurance to cover this stuff. So question came out about the address. We're going to have some more info. We just got the final location done today. UT is set up to do this. We'll have the sign up most likely Monday along with the information. They can run about, I think they said 2 tests every 5 minutes, and they're going to do it during the middle of the day. And they're going to have some forms for you to download and bring in with that as well. So I hope that's helpful to you all. And again, you probably have a local option as well, and I'd encourage you to take a look. But testing is pretty widely available. It does need to be a PCR test, which is not an antigen test, so keep that in mind. So I'll be happy to answer questions later or in chat, and I hope that's helpful to you all.
Great, thanks, Chuck. So again, just a reminder, those test results do need to be shown at registration. In the case that, let's say someone is tested and they have already traveled to Knoxville and they do get a positive test, we will also update our protocol and let you know who to contact. That'll be someone from public health / our UT medical team, as well as someone from USA Cycling, just so that we can give the rider or the team's information as to what needs to happen next for that individual. Chuck, I'm just going to keep going, just interrupt if there's a question that needs to be verbally addressed. So next up in our protocol is mask requirements. We are mandating that all riders and staff wear masks during competition and during meetings. Our staff will also be following this protocol. Again, our officiating staff, and we have a number of them on the call here, but when the riders approach the start line, our officiating staff will let the riders know when they can remove masks. But again, masks do need to be worn by all riders and staff during meetings and competition. As part of our general COVID requirements, we ask that all folks involved with the event perform a daily self-health check. That is simply the CDC self-health check, and we'll include that link in our protocol, but it's a simple questionnaire that you're just yes, no questions. Again, we will ask that if you are showing symptoms or if you've been alerted that you have been around someone who is showing symptoms or who has tested positive recently, that you again let us know, and we'll let you know what the further protocol for yourself will be. We also ask that you perform social distancing. I think we're all pretty familiar with what this is. And we are going with a no contact event. So for instance, try not to hug, high five, etc. We're just going to keep a no contact throughout the event. Okay, registration and packet pickup procedure. So we obviously have to have race number pickup in person. We did want to ask your opinion, and Chuck, we probably should have done a poll for this. But if you can just drop in the chat window if you would prefer managers meetings in person. So yes for that or no for that in the chat window. We definitely want to hear your feedback. I'll say that our staff, we have all been vaccinated. We feel comfortable with in-person meetings, but we did consider just doing all virtual. Again, that was before the CDC changed their guidelines. So if you can just drop that in there, that would be super helpful. And Chuck, if you can just let me know where we end up with that.
Yeah, and Tara, I'll add a little information that may flavor the discussion, but essentially packet pickup or enrollment is going to be right before the managers meeting, as we normally do. We have a little gap in between. And with the way things have changed, we thought it's a little silly to have y'all show up and pick up packets and then bolt back to your hotel room or your car to do a virtual meeting. So that's the way we're sort of headed with it. And we'll make sure it's a safe meeting. It sounds like folks want to do in person. That would be our preference, especially since we haven't seen a lot of you in a year and we miss you. So.
Okay. It seems like most folks are saying in person. So we would be very happy to do that. And we'll have that announced in the updated event schedule with locations for those meetings. Again, we would ask that everybody wear a mask to those meetings. All right, let's talk about the start procedure. So again, like I mentioned, riders will have to wear masks as well as staff. Our officiating staff will let riders know when they can remove those masks. We will have trash cans by the start area for riders to discard if they do want to, instead of putting in their jersey pocket. Feed zone procedures, we are asking staff to be, Chuck, if you can mute. Okay. No, I think it was someone else, but if you could just mute everybody. All right, feed zone procedure, just like other UCI races, we are asking that staff in the feed zone be masked. And just one point that we did want to add that really doesn't have anything to do with COVID protocol, but is part of new UCI protocol. We will have multiple green zones around the course. We typically just have had one after the feed zone at this event, but there will be at least, I think 4, Kevin, is that correct? 4, thanks, Will. So we'll have 4 green zones around the course, and those will be marked on the course maps in the tech guide. So please make sure your riders are utilizing those. All right, moving on to finish line procedure. So we do ask that 1 licensed team staff be in the finish area for your riders. We want to keep this area relatively clear and a small number of people so it's not congested. In terms of results, so we will not be posting paper results like we have in the past. On our results board will be a QR code, and this is also going to be published in the tech guide, and that QR code will direct you to the results website. We're also asking, and we'll have a form for everybody to fill out, or at least an area for you all to give us your email addresses. But we do want to ensure that we can email results immediately after the race to all riders or team managers. So we'll send an email address as to where you can send that contact information for us. In regards to protest, hopefully we will not have any, but just in case that we do, riders or team staff can approach our finish trailer. We've spoken with our chief judge, and she is comfortable having that conversation face to face. We do have some pretty tight turnarounds in terms of our TV coverage for our crit, especially when those awards are happening. So we do find that and feel that an in-person conversation regarding protest will be the best case. And we also will send out our chief judge's contact information in case you need to have that conversation, not face-to-face in person. All right, anti-doping procedure. This is going to be similar to in the past, but USADA is mandating that all All riders wear masks during the entire procedure, so please just make sure your athletes have masks. We will have extra masks on hand at the finish line in case a rider has lost theirs. They threw theirs out at the start, so we will have those available if riders need those, whether for anti-doping, awards procedure, etc. For our awards procedure, we are asking again to limit the number of people in that area. And so for this, we will allow one licensed team staff person per athlete on the podium. So if your team does end up with 2 riders on the podium, you can have 2 team staff to help each of those individual riders out. Again, we ask that there's a no contact policy during the award ceremony. The podium blocks will be separated out to give space between riders. So we just ask, again, no hugging, no high-fiving, etc. All right, our tech guide. Some folks might be wondering when that's going to be published. We will have that published digitally this coming Monday, the 7th, and that will be available on the event website. I will say that the COVID protocol that we just reviewed is not going to be part of that tech guide. It will be a separate document. So if you open the tech guide, can't find what we just discussed, it's just going to be a separate document in the same area of the event website. Now, I've gone through pretty much all of our COVID protocol. Chuck, what questions did we get, or what questions do you all have in regard to this?
Yeah, just got a couple questions. Ed's asking, process is the same, really, in regards to the courses and the distances. We're looking at basically identical to 2019. Most of our other processes will be in place. You'll see in the tech guide, we didn't want to dive into too much detail, but we are, at one point, we were looking at cutting VIP car rides. That's back in, including for you all. We're just really, and I want to paint a little broader picture. We're in a really weird time right now. We're in this transition period, and we've reached out to some teams and staff and had conversations. We are definitely being a bit cautious and conservative, and this is our first event back. And we realize that. We just want you all to know it's from feedback. We do have riders coming who haven't been able to get vaccinated, not by their choice. We are, probably going to have some of our Olympians racing, and we want to keep all of you safe. So, put up with the deal we're going to do. Our hope is later this year, we're going to be able to roll a lot of this stuff back. But we're going to be cautious this first time. Brett did ask, and I'll go back to the testing. We got a question from Lee and Brett. Let me just put this schedule up again, because I think, Brett, that's what you were referencing. If you were, so I'm just going to use some examples because I like to. Let's say you have a rider who's doing the time trial on the 17th. They are flying in on the 15th. They can get tested the 13th, 14th, or 15th, wherever. They can do it at home. We just need that testing result in hand when you go to pick the number up, or they go to pick the number up on Wednesday the 16th. So if they got tested on the 15th, most places are not necessarily turning around stuff that quickly. UT has told us they can, because they're doing it special for us. But they could get tested at their local pharmacy at home on Sunday. And if that test result's back Wednesday by 4 o'clock, they're good to go, and they're good to go for the whole weekend. So I hope that that clears that up. The same for the other events. And again, we'll put this. We just finished this chart up today with UT Medical. We'll get this out before. They can't get tested before the well, they can get tested for the 13th. The result will be invalid as far as we're concerned. So it's got to be in, and this is UCI protocol. The test has to be in that 72 hours beforehand, if that makes sense.
And for Lee and everyone else, UT Medical testing sign up will open this coming Monday, so June 7th.
Yep.
And that'll be through Bike Reg.
That's right. We're going to be spend the whole weekend setting that up. So staff's excited. Other question was about staff support personnel need to be registered anywhere. we're basically, this is a standard protocol we follow, that if you are doing a function at an event that requires a license, and this is COVID or not, that is going to be our threshold for the testing. And we would ask you all to be considerate of that. If you're a director, if you're driving a car, if you're going to be in the pit, if you're going to be a mechanic, a soigneur on the finish line, whatever, you normally need a license. And if you need a license to do your function, that is what you're going to need when you're going to need to be tested. If you've got a team media person who doesn't need to be licensed, isn't going to be near the riders, whatever, a team owner, they don't need to get tested. But anyone who's going to be interacting not only with your riders, but frankly with others, that's sort of where we've decided to draw the line. And I hope that makes sense. If you got a particular instance you're questioning, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll try to help you out with that. Lee asked Tara, staff at finish line, it's one per rider, so basically a soigneur to receive your rider after a finish is what we're looking at, or other team staff. The time trial is going to be a little different. The way we finish that is riders come off the course and basically in the team parking. We are not going to control that team parking. We're mainly interested in the crit and the road race and the finish stretch past the finish, where you normally have a soigneur or someone there receiving a rider. Good questions. All right, I do want to ask, I mean, just for my personal interest, people pretty comfortable. It sounds like people are pretty comfortable. People are pretty excited, and we are glad to have you guys back. So Catherine asked, staff required to be masked in the follow vehicle? Yes. Catherine, let me look at the UCI protocol. That is required, I think, for 2 or more people in a vehicle. We're requiring it for all the comm vehicles, the comms, etc. I'm looking forward to wearing a mask in the heat of Guatemala all next week in a race. So, and I'm fully vaxxed. I did get a direct about family member in the feed zone. You know, listen, we're going to use some common sense here. We do not want to be the mask police or the license check or the test police. We want you all to cooperate with us. Folks who are going to be interacting directly with riders on your team and other teams, that's where we really need to get testing done.
All right, does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, I did get one direct. Tara, question was, staff going from pro nats to amateur nationals, will they need to be tested again? The UCI protocol is basically 10 days, and you're probably going to be super tight on that depending on what events you're doing. So I would say count on it. And we are looking at doing some similar stuff. We'll have more information when we do. We're going to do the same information call for amateur U23 nationals next weekend. Nima asked, Tara, I'll answer this one because I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Caravan training, we are going to do it. We're going to do it here and at amateur nationals. Kevin, nod your head yes or no. I think we're looking at doing in person for that, is the latest I heard. And we'll have that information in the technical guide, and that'll be good for 2 years for anybody who's not taking it. So, and I'll be probably teaching it, or Steve Epple, our chief commissary. He doesn't know that yet.
All right, well, if there's no further questions, thank you all. Okay, hang on 1 second. Chuck, this is a license question.
Yeah, Chris, if your Swanee is just working here in the US, a USA cycling license is fine for them.
And the tech guide will be published on Monday, this coming Monday, the 7th, on the event website.
Catherine asked the same for mechanics. Yes, this will be a little clearer. It's actually in the qualification documents, but a team support staff outside a director, if they're not driving, we're comfortable with the USA cycling license for them for sure. Basically, the license is there, so if you do something bad, I can take it away from you and not let you do it anymore. So.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. As Chuck has said, if you have any questions between now and the event regarding protocol or anything else, please reach out. Contact information is on the event website. Tech Guide will be published on Monday on the event website. We will have the COVID protocol in a separate document on the website as well. So any questions, of course, reach out. And we're very, very, very much looking forward to not working on our computers and being at an actual event and seeing you all. So thank you very much and have a good evening.